Contractors may not break broncos, herd cattle, or hunt down rustlers, but generally they know a thing or two about independence. It's practically part of the job description. Whether you're a contractor yourself or you work for a contractor, you probably enjoy that frontier feeling of going where your job takes you. You're no greenhorn. You've got the skill and experience it takes to bring them in and get the job done. Yet, as much as cowboys are American heroes, they're also American myths. And so is the idea of the contractor working the range by himself. On today's multi-employer site, the contractor has to be a team player, especially in chemical plants, oil refineries, or industrial facilities where highly hazardous chemicals are part of the process. Accidents involving chemical processes have been known to shut down whole towns and injure hundreds. That's why the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, developed the Process Safety Management Standard to keep you, co-workers, and community members safe around dangerous processes. The standard is designed to prevent or minimize potentially catastrophic releases of toxic, reactive, flammable, or explosive substances. Under the standard, a process is any activity which involves an employer and employees with highly hazardous materials. It includes use, storage, manufacturing, handling, processing, movement, or any combination of these activities. The standard applies to industries or processes that use these substances at or above established threshold quantities. For example, the threshold quantity, or TQ, of chlorine is 1,500 pounds. So the 2 one-ton cylinders of chlorine commonly found at a cooling tower exceed the TQ and bring the site under the OSHA standard. The standard also applies to most processes that use flammable liquids or gases on site in one location in quantities of 10,000 pounds or more. The standard is designed to dispel any confusion you may have about working in or near a covered process. Above all, it calls for a team effort to work safely. Contractors, engineers, operators, and supervisors all are potentially at risk. All have special responsibilities around hazardous processes. This program spells out contract employee responsibility when working around a covered process. As a contract employee, you may work in any of several general capacities. You may be hired because you have a specialized skill or knowledge the host employer does not have in such areas as electrical work, pipe fitting, or asbestos removal. You may work on site when the operation needs more workers quickly for a short time, such as for a turnaround operation. Or you may work for a contractor who operates the facility for the owner. Whatever work you do, the contractor you work for is responsible for training you to perform your job safely. The training should emphasize specific safety and health hazards, procedures, and safe work practices. In addition, you must follow industry practices and facility procedures, as well as all federal, state, and local regulations. A contractor process operator receives the same training as a process operator employed by the host. Your contractor employer may ask you to pass a skills or proficiency test to document that you can perform your job safely. To ensure that you are physically fit, you may be asked to take a drug test. The host employer also plays a vital but indirect role in your safety training. The host employer will inform the contractor of all applicable safety rules and hazards for a particular facility. This includes providing information concerning any potential fire, explosion, or toxic release hazards associated with the contractor's work, all applicable provisions of the facility's emergency action plan, permit confined space hazards and any other workplace hazards that could affect contract workers, safety rules and recommendations to comply with OSHA standards that are relevant to the contractor's work. As you can see, clear, effective communication starts right up front between plant management and contractors. It continues when your contractor employer passes safety rules and information on to you and makes sure that you follow them. The standard is designed to keep communication channels open by requiring the host employer to periodically audit and evaluate your safety training. The company keeps injury and illness records. You must report your work-related injuries and illnesses to your contractor employer, who will share this information with the host employer. In the chemical processing environment, where potential hazards could lead to serious accidents, you play a vital part in minimizing the chances of a hazardous release. You are counted on to perform quality work that meets the highest standards and job specifications. An innocent mistake, a slight violation of procedure, or a lack of training can lead to catastrophe. So, if you have any questions about the process or the job, ask them. If you're not sure about a chemical status, ask your supervisor. The host employer has information available, including material safety data sheets, or MSDSs, written procedures, and flow diagrams. Any chemical used by a contractor must be approved by the host employer before being brought to the job site. Failure to follow all written procedures can lead to hefty fines and even jail sentences. In any job, it is your responsibility to use the appropriate personal protective equipment. PPE can include a hard hat, safety glasses, proper footwear, hearing protection, a welding shield, respirator, and more. It is important that you obey any signs requiring the use of PPE. The contractor employer must supply whatever PPE you need, train you to use PPE, and ensure that your equipment is in good working condition. It is your responsibility to clean up after yourself. Place all scrap material, waste products, and trash in the proper receptacles. This is especially important when handling solvents or chemicals classified as hazardous material. Need to change or modify equipment, procedures, raw materials, or processing conditions? Hold on. Make sure you know and follow your host's management of change procedures carefully. As a contract employee, you may perform very specialized and potentially hazardous tasks, such as confined space entry activities and non-routine repair activities. These activities must be controlled by a work authorization system or permit system. Know what permits are required for operations such as lockout-tagout, hot work, confined space entry, opening process equipment, piping, and other applicable operations. Follow all procedures exactly. For your protection, access to certain hazardous areas may be restricted. Whenever you enter such an area, be sure you are authorized and that you follow entry and exit procedures to the letter. Following proper check-in could prevent rescuers from needlessly risking their lives searching for you, all because you left the area without signing out. Speaking of emergencies, be sure you know exactly what to do before one occurs. Know what the alarm sounds like, what to do, and, this is especially critical, where to go for the head count at points of assembly. Locate emergency evacuation routes and safe havens, as well as the nearest eye wash and shower stations. Learn what you're supposed to do if you witness an accident, and when and how to report it. You may be asked to assist the host employer by passing along information about potential hazards you see. On some jobs, failure to report safety incidents and potential hazards is reason for contract termination. Because of your special expertise, you may be asked to participate in an accident investigation, a pre-startup safety review, hazard review team, or safety committee. Take these responsibilities seriously. You may be independent, but be a straight shooter. You've got to keep your eyes fixed on safety to ride tall in the saddle. After all, there are a lot of good folks out there counting on you to keep the trails safe. If you were told that the alarm was sounding because of a hydrogen sulfide gas leak, would you believe it? Well, you'd better not sniff around and then ignore the alarm because you don't smell rotten eggs. That's one of the biggest mistakes workers make around hydrogen sulfide. They wait till they smell hydrogen sulfide to protect themselves. Or they smell rotten eggs, and then when the smell is gone, they assume the danger is gone as well. When in reality, it is a matter of life or death. Hydrogen sulfide is invisible, explosive, and flammable. Most importantly, it's deadly. In fact, this ferocious chemical, hydrogen sulfide, or H2S, is a leading cause of sudden workplace death. It seems to be everywhere. Oil and gas operations, mining and sewage operations, landfills, laboratories, and even public utilities. But you can work around hydrogen sulfide safely if you understand its hazards. It's up to you. In this program, we'll teach you how to work safely around hydrogen sulfide. You'll learn its properties and characteristics, effects of exposure, air monitoring requirements, engineering controls, personal protective equipment, first aid and rescue procedures, and how to avoid exposure. Sour gas, rotten egg gas, stink damp, sulfurated hydrogen, hepatic gas, and sulfur hydride. It has a lot of names, but no matter what you call hydrogen sulfide, at high enough concentrations, it's always deadly. Let's look at some of its properties. First, can you see it? No, H2S is an invisible gas. Can you smell it? Well, maybe you think you'll recognize it by its rotten egg smell. After all, even below a safe level of 1 part per million, you can smell rotten eggs. But remember, most plants, mills, and treatment facilities have other chemical odors that can hide or mask this rotten egg smell at low concentrations. So never rely on your nose to recognize H2S. Second, hydrogen sulfide is heavier than air. That means it will collect in low-lying areas like cellars, pits, and vaults. Third, hydrogen sulfide is an extremely flammable gas. If there is the right amount of H2S, between 43,000 and 460,000 parts per million, and the temperature is right, H2S will explode violently. Keep in mind that hydrogen sulfide is deadly at low concentrations.